Mumonkan, case number 23. Think neither good nor evil. Today's case is rather long and needs a lengthy introduction. I will therefore skip Mumon's comment and verse. The text goes as follows. The sixth patriarch Enyo was pursued by the monk Myo as far as the Tairyu mountain. Enyo, seeing Myo coming, laid the robe and bowl on a rock and said, "This robe and bowl represents the teaching. It should not be fought over. If you want to take it now." Myo tried to take it, but it was heavy as a mountain and would not move. Faltering and trembling, he cried out, "I came for the teaching, not for the robe. So I beg you, please give me your instruction." The patriarch Enyo said, "Think neither good nor evil." At this very moment, what is the original self of monk Myo? At these words, Myo was directly illuminated. He wept and bowed, saying, "Besides the secret words and the secret meaning you have just revealed to me, is there anything else deeper still?" Enyo responded, "What I have just told you is no secret at all. If you realize your true nature, whatever is secret is within yourself." So here comes the rather long introduction to this text. First of all, Enyo lived in the 7th, early 8th century in China and was the 6th patriarch, the 6th Chinese patriarch after Bodhidharma. His background is that he came from a very poor family, and in order to help out his family, he went around the village selling firewood. One day, when he was delivering wood to some customer, he overheard reciting verses from the Diamond Sutra in some of the houses. That suddenly caused his Dharma eye to open, like a spontaneous enlightenment. He went inside the house and asked the man where these teachings came from, and was told it came from Zen master Obai. And Obai is the 5th patriarch, so the one before what will eventually become his own teaching. So he went to see Obai in his monastery, and as for all the new arrivals, Obai was going to test Enyo to see if he would be accepted in the monastery or not. The test was kind of described, but let's not go into that detail. Somehow, what's important to know, somehow Obai recognized that there was a spark in Enyo, and he accepted Enyo to stay. Not as a monk, because he was very, very young and very, very junior, but as a help in the kitchen. So a few months went by, and Obai, at that moment, being already quite old, launched a contest to try to indicate who his successor would be. Whoever would win would receive his robe and bowl, representing therefore the seal of transmission of the teaching. The contest itself consisted of writing a 4-line poem. Many of the monks of the monastery therefore went into writing a poem, and they were probably, posted on a kind of a billboard for everybody to see. And we don't know all the poems that were written on that occasion. We only know 2 of them. The first poem was written by head monk Shinshu. He wrote the following lines. The body is the Bodhi tree. The mind is like a mirror. Just I pause here 1 second. In this case, the mind stands for consciousness. So it's like the consciousness is like a mirror. Every now and then, clean and polish it, and let no dust settle on it. So these were the 4 lines by the head monk of that monastery, the head monk Shinshu. And as I said, there were many other posts by the other monks who all were hoping to get the transmission of the teaching from their master, Obai. Then Enyo also posted his little 4 lines. And he posted it just under the one from head monk Shinshu. And Enyo's response to that poem was as follows. Bodhi by nature is no tree. Already here is a deep meaning, you see. What you see is not the tree. The true nature of the tree is way beyond what you see as tree. Just like when people see your face, what you intrinsically are, your true nature, is way beyond that face. So I repeat the first line of Enyo. Bodhi by nature is no tree. The mirror is inherently formless. There is originally just nothingness. On what then can the dust settle? These were the 4 lines by this. He was not even a monk. He just arrived. He was a help in the kitchen, not even the main cook or something, just a help in the kitchen. And he wrote those 4 lines. So here we can make a distinction as follows. In many spiritual teachings, we have what we call a progressive path, and in exceptional cases, we have what we call the direct path. In the many traditions, we have to make various efforts and steps to prepare for enlightenment. Advaita and Zen, however, are examples of the direct path. Enlightenment just hits, and then after it hits, we need time to practice to make oneself familiar with it. So, for example, the belief that we first need to practice yoga for maybe 10 years to make this body flexible. And then we need another 10 years of meditation for the mind to empty the mind little by little. And then maybe later, who knows, enlightenment might happen. This is an example of a tradition that would use the progressive way, the progressive path. But all progressive paths attempt to project enlightenment in the future, when in fact it is clear that the goal is to be here and now. What do we know about the future? If we start embarking on the progressive way, we postpone the idea of enlightenment some point in the future, when in fact everything is related to the now. So if we look at the head monk Shinshu's poem, he suggests wiping the mirror whenever the dust settles. This is an action of the progressive path. And if we look at Ennio's response, he said, there is no mirror, there is no future. You better realize this matter right here and now. In this way, you may understand that Ennio's response was in fact far superior to the one by head monk Shinshu. As a result, during the night, Obai called Ennio to his quarters. He did that secretly, and he provided him, that is Ennio, with a rope and bowl of transmission of the teaching. He then also accompanied Ennio to the nearest ferry boat and told him, go, don't come back, because the monks, the senior monks, the head monk, will be so furious to know that a junior guy, a help in the kitchen, was given the bowl and the rope, that they will not tolerate it. So you go and establish your own Dharma center yourself. What happened next is that the rumors about this finally reached some of the monks in the monastery. And a senior monk amongst them, Monk Myo, who used to be an army general, he decided to, go after Ennio, chase him with about a few dozen other monks, and he went hundreds of miles trying to find Ennio. And little by little, because time went by, one monk left, another monk gave up, another monk gave up. In the end, it was Myo alone who finally was able to catch up with Ennio. And this is now when this case number 23 of the Mumonkan starts. And I will repeat this case bit by bit, giving a few additional clarifications. The sixth patriarch Ennio, now you know who he is, was pursued by the monk Myo as far as Tairyu mountain. Ennio, seeing monk Myo coming, laid the rope and bowl on a rock and said, "This rope represents the teaching. It should not be fought over. If you want to take it now." So, first of all, this rope and bowl, as you already have understood from my introduction, they are the symbols for consciousness, for Buddha nature, for God. Can a cloud pretend that the sky is hiss and fight over it? I'm the sky, says one cloud. And the other cloud says, no, it's my sky, it's my... No, you cannot do it. The sky is all over. They are both sky. How can you fight about it? It is in this spirit that Ennio just put the rope and the ball on a rock and say, if you want to take it, go ahead. There is no need to fight for it. So monk Myo tried to take it, as the text continues, but it appeared that taking it was impossible. The rope was as heavy as a mountain and would not move. Indeed, Myo came with greed and with a big ego, having been an army general, by the way, to steal, in fact, what was not given to him. His dualistic mind was probably cluttered and unable to see or recognize the grand sky. And he therefore found it impossible to take the rope and bowl. So the text continues. Faltering and trembling, Myo cried out, I came for the teaching, not for the rope. So I beg you, please give me your instruction. Now we suddenly see a huge transformation. This great general, this senior monk who was so proud and who had chased Ennio for hundreds of miles, suddenly dropped his harness of anger and folly. He suddenly became small, humble, even begging. Now, such an act of dropping one's shield is very conducive for something greater even to happen. And the text continues as follows. The patriarch Ennio said, think no good nor evil. At this very moment, what is the original self of monk Myo? Indeed, what is left of you when any thoughts about good and evil are gone? Our thinking mind constantly judges everything. This forest is beautiful. That's a thought. In what does the thought appears? That garbage dump is horrible. That's another thought, negative one. But in what does this thought appear? This lady acts generously. That's a positive thought. But again, in what does such a thought appear? This man acts egoistically. That's yet another thought, a negative one. But where does the thought appear? This religion elevates people. That's a positive thought. But again, in what does this thought appear? This religion exploits people. That's a negative thought. But again, in what does this thought appear? And we can go on and on and on. Monk Myo's mind, thinking mind, was filled with feelings of guilt and shame because he was going to steal the rope and the bowl. But what remains when all these thoughts of guilt and shame, good and evil, were dropped? So the text continues. At these words, Myo was directly illuminated. He wept and bowed, saying, beside the secret words and the secret meaning you have just revealed to me, is there anything else deeper still? What happens when our ego harness drops? When our thoughts about good and evil drops? When our original nature then reveals itself in the moment? When our face we had before we were born shines? It's just empty space then, and all objects shine visibly, and there are no secrets left. And indeed the text continues, Enyo responded, what I have just told you is no secret at all. It is just clear, it is just visible to you, it has always been there. If you realize your true nature, whatever is secret is within yourself and is not a secret at all. So that's quite clear. Thanks for listening. If you have a few moments after this video, watch your thoughts and watch how you constantly judge everything. See how these judgments are just thoughts as well. And see how this whole game happens in your own original mind. The face you had even before you were born. Thank you.